There's you
Yeah.
looking at you, looking at you, looking at you, looking at you.
It'll,
Got it.
I've got it in a minute.
Right, so. The situation is that the Family Dollar store, so-called down here, which isn't Family Dollar anymore, but you know, the one on the edge of the river. Bought by Gil Lee, who runs Napa, sells Napa products, wants to move, I guess, from where he is to over there, big building. And so a engineer spec'd it out, did the plans, and we have the plans somewhere, and we've seen them. And so the plans came to Tim. Tim looked at all kinds of everything and just zoomed over the fact that the siding was metal siding and not allowed. Now, that's an easy enough mistake to make. And in fact, if you look through some of the stuff that I sent out, way down, a previous code enforcement officer had fallen for that same trap. Rusty Lawrence, when he came in, was brand new. It's a new building. It's not new building, but it's a weird building. It's not really historic. No, it's not one of the historic 1880 buildings. It's here, but it's in the district. So it isn't necessary. Well, it is necessary, but Tim was looking at all the other stuff. Like I say, blanked out over the siding because it doesn't even look like metal siding when you see the plan, and said, okay, this is all right. Then they buy the siding. This is an issue. But based on that, however, if you read the code, it is loaded. And this is the page that Charles has out, and that's what we sent in the E-code connection and all that, with things that are expected for any exterior changes in the HDO, historic district overlap, HDO. So plain as day, it says in there that so any changes have to come before the planning board. So they skipped us completely. So that's one thing that we can use. Hey, wait a minute, you skipped the planning board. The second thing is it spells out clearly what should be done and can't be allowed. And it doesn't say you can't put up metal, but it does say you can only put up brick. Now, we have some other buildings close to it that aren't all brick, but that's what it says in the
Well,
code.
the building
It
that
has to be-
recently was built next door was required to be brick.
That's right. And the H&R block is the one that messes us up there. The one that was a gas station, I think, the little one. And so it went with a more of an Adirondack theme with the stone and some corbels and a little bit of decoration. I don't know about the corbels, but the decoration on that building. That's old. It's been there quite a while in the change. But to get back to this building, an engineer who should know enough to read the code and is familiar enough with what the code says, you would think would have said, oh, we've got to go to the planning board before we go even to code enforcement, because that's what's required. And look, the only siding we can put on this is brick. It says.
Who's the engineer?
Rob Campany, Fourth Coast Engineering.
Yeah, don't know him.
Don't know him either.
No, don't know if they've been here before or not, but
I don't recognize the name.
no, okay, so as a pro, he should know what he's
Yep.
supposed to do. And we are standing behind Tim. Well, I mean, Tim's decision isn't perfect, isn't the best that it could be done. However, there are plenty of mistakes that can happen in the world, and you don't have to keep. For example, if you're admitted to Cornell by accident, and you show up the first day, they say, wait a minute, you didn't get accepted. Oh, yes, I get this. I'm sorry, it's a mistake. You're not coming. Some at the bank puts too much money in your account and goofs up somehow. You don't get to keep it. They say, wait a minute, take it back. So administratively, if you make a mistake, there's times that you can fix it. Now, I called another code enforcement officer just to shoot the breeze a little bit with them. And I said, I got a little issue here that we sort of want to change directions and tell them, that they can't do what they're doing. And he said, is it already installed? And I said, no, meaning the siding, it's not already installed. Oh, that'll be a lot easier to fix, he said. If it was installed, then you have to pay them to take it down or account for that. But otherwise, he said, yes, you can, but that beyond that, it's a question for the attorney. Because, the question, what do we want to do about it?
Well, I doubt that it's custom special siding.
It's just standard roof, right? We have a picture of it.
And they'll probably be able to just take it back to the store where they bought it.
Well, you would think,
Get a credit.
unless they've done it with a, cut to length or something. Where's my,
Which is a thing when you're buying metal, but
yeah, it is. So we can go down to, I think it's the last one in here. Yeah, this is the metal siding that they've picked. So it's gray and they have a pile of it. Now, I don't know where the pile is. You know, sometimes I think, yeah, maybe they did buy it, maybe they didn't.
No,
I don't- They really
it
have it.
was,
And it's down there. Is it at the place?
yeah, that's
Okay.
inside the building.
Yep.
I stopped there, that photo was taken today.
Okay,
I go after lunch.
How many pieces of siding do they have piled up in that building? 1,000?
it must be because it's a big
It's a
building.
big building, so
Yeah.
there was that pile and there's another pile. I suppose I should have taken a picture of what they have, but
Well,
Whatever.
this is enough for the color. But it's just standard old roof metal. It's not even like a fancy elaborate,
Correct.
something like that. Just to go back up to what we're looking at for pictures here. This is Tim holding up traffic by stopping on the bridge and taking a picture of the
No,
building.
I
across
was
the-
in traffic and I put it in park
He wasn't the guy causing it.
and took that photo.
If I can get that bigger. So,
Give you a bridge shot.
yeah, so you do have a long expanse out here along that side. And you have a pretty long expanse across that. Is that me or you moving? I don't know, but anyway, across this marquee, I guess we're calling it, the
Yeah.
overhang. I don't know if that's a better term. And of course, that doesn't really, and in fact,
They're pre-
marquees are banned in this
Yeah,
village
well,
except
all
for,
that stuff is pre-existing,
yeah, oh yeah.
non-conforming.
So, but they're talking about a different offsetting color for the front, and they haven't bought the metal for the front yet. So there's that possibility that they could make that look better. Make it-
Well, they're thinking of, well,
Mhm.
I won't say, I'm not gonna say it because
What
it
if they-
came secondhand, didn't come from the Lee
Okay,
Hill Ventures. It was
Okay.
a workman on site made a comment, but I don't think it'd be wise to
okay,
present that information.
as being definite, but
Yeah,
yeah, okay, but it's a
so put
possibility.
it this way. It's gonna be a Napa store.
Yeah, so blue.
Mhm.
Right.
Blue and yellow.
Yeah.
And yellow really doesn't go.
So anyway,
I was, when I heard it was a Napa, I was like, all of the Napas that I've seen are blue.
right,
Mhm.
So their sign's gonna eventually be an issue.
Yes,
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
Perhaps.
that's where it all began. Actually, back in November, I actually sent him an email, and I have it here, that, you know. What was it dated, November 21st? And I basically said, please review the sign permit application and the new zoning code. Please review the new zoning code, look at the signage in the historic district sections, basically sent them a link to the new.
and that's in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so they know it's historic district. We know there's a zoning code. that-
When did this come? After November?
Mhm.
So
I-
they're good.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and this past January is when I
Wrote the permit.
No, I wrote the permit in, I think it's in
October
October 25th,
24.
2022.
Yeah, that's our application.
I mean, this points to like. B is gonna be a problem, so 325 dash blah, whatever.
Yeah, it gets pretty deep there.
325-21, I guess. B is gonna be a problem. D. And so there's unpainted exterior brick or stone shall not be painted or concealed. I don't know if they're planning on concealing it with that stuff. The metal siding.
Well, if you go to the plans, it shows that.
Then any change of exterior construction materials, including siding, must be reviewed and approved by the planning board. So it never came to the planning board. And if they've got an engineer, that engineer should be reading the code when he's making these plans. So it's not your fault then. No vinyl, metal, or aluminum siding shall be permitted for use on any building. Any new construction or exterior remodeling shall have the building faced with red brick or other non-combustible building material appropriate to the building. Okay, well, there it is. That's the deal. I'm a reader. I read the stuff.
The code sections I sent to Barry too, if you want to
Mhm.
put those up there for anybody
So
else.
I
wanna
can
read
share this one.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Well,
I got it. Got it.
Oh, you
yeah,
are,
okay, and
Oh,
I'm
that's
reading
right.
it on mine
got
now.
everything that,
So,
Good.
but I'm just not putting it up there.
Good. Everybody's got it there.
So, yeah, there's a lot of.
There's more photos. too.
Places, yep, oh, yes.
Might wanna
Let's go
scroll
back
through
to, it's over here.
And there's more. I mean, the owner occupant or the person, until you need to speak about something, Barry, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
keep
go
reading
ahead,
this.
keep going, yep.
The owner occupant or person in actual charge of property located within the historical district overlay shall keep and maintain in good condition and repair all exterior portions thereof, including front, back, and side exterior walls and facades, and all interior portions thereof whose maintenance is necessary to prevent deterioration and decay of any exterior architectural feature or natural feature. This is all pretty heavy duty.
Mhm.
Um,
Get that bigger.
Well, if you can't find the photos. that's
Well, I have them right there in my PowerPoint, but I'm stuck in this other thing. All right, let's get out of this one. Here we go. Okay, so we have that one. We have. This is the true, what you do, stand in the river?
That's from Willow Island.
Uh-huh. That's a pretty big side.
I just went to the edge of the
Mhm.
bank and
Yep.
just
That's a big building.
raised my
No question. about
camera over the briar bushes. there.
it. One of the, when we're talking about signs, they're entitled to 80% of that side for a sign lengthwise. 2 feet high, that's a huge sign, that could say all kinds of stuff, so we want to.
Actually, the new code says 72 square feet per lot.
Business. Okay,
So
okay, so that's gonna be a lot better.
that old 80% thing is not really,
Okay,
it's not in there anymore.
good.
They just,
Change it to that, so.
If you look at-
2 square would be fine.
yeah, it's all based on square footage now. And they don't, in the past, they used to have like the sign on the side had to be like 50% of
Mhm.
the,
Now you can spread it around any way you want, as long as it
Exactly, you
doesn't
can-
go beyond. Yeah.
wherever there's frontage, like
Mhm.
you couldn't put it in the back because there's no frontage.
This is
But
front.
technically, you can't put a sign on the river because the river is frontage.
Okay. So, just to, it's sort of a measure of our resolve. What do we care about here and what's important on this building? And Charles is making a point that this is written out black and white, pretty clear. A professional might want to know, or might already know that that should have been consulted. Mistakes happen. If the mistake didn't happen, it would never been approved. That's another way to look at it. It just wouldn't have gone through.
And the other thing is allowing any easing of these requirements would sort of open up other people to come in and say
Slippery
like,
slope.
Oops.
yeah, like, look how beautiful a job I'm doing with this or
Mhm.
that, or.
Yep.
And there are all sorts of things I can point at that I can see from the window here. That
Aren't compliant, is that what you're saying? Well, McDonald's.
aren't compliant, but like,
That's compliant, but it's not particularly nice. Anyway.
right,
And I don't know if, does the HDO go over as far as the little barber shop over here?
No,
No, okay, so it ends.
actually, it's interesting.
Wow.
Did I give you a image of the HDO?
Paper one.
You can go, if you can navigate to Dank, you'll be able to find it. But it's interesting, the
Yeah, go
line
ahead.
goes behind. Well, it doesn't go behind it, it sort of comes around the old Family Dollar. Like, the line comes down, like all the other streets, like the properties going this way are all in line with the HDO, then it juts out to go around Family Dollar.
And pick it and bring it in.
Yeah.
Right, to include it. I see. Yeah, because it's longer than any other building on the block. If it
Like-
was straight up through, then that would be okay, but in order to be right, yep, all
Yeah, if
right.
you get a Dank, I mean, if you can get Dank on that,
Well, I certainly believe you, because I know, the lines there.
it
so-
would give you, and H&R Block is kind of like a parcel within their parcel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you,
Oh.
yeah, I think
it's
it'd be
its
good.
own separate parcel.
it is a separate parcel, but
It's fully encapsulated by the Family Dollar one,
yeah, that's. a good
except for
way-
the front.
That's a good way to put it.
Mhm.
So
Because I
great
think it'd be important to show that in the deck. If you
Okay,
could
let's
get
see if
that
I
up.
can't.
I have a map, I'm just trying to find it.
Okay, good, because you're way
Actually, I
ahead
wonder
of
if I
me.
have printed it out here, I can pass it around.
Okay,
If you see, if you can get it on Dennis,
Jenny's working on that, because I'm gonna look on it.
You can take, look
I'm
at
just
any
looking.
of this.
I'm not gonna. So it's just this thing that we're doing tonight, right?
Well, there's another questions about signs for two East Main or whatever,
for
Two,
East Main,
for East Main.
what's four East
It's,
Main?
The
Niles Asset Management.
tall Italianate building right across from the park.
Man. Made the sign code?
They wanted a second sign because they have two, and see, we don't really do signs anymore, but it's to back up the code enforcement, to be sure that we're all interpreting it the same way. is the
Actually,
way I see it.
I think it comes under construction.
As
This is
construction.
not. I think we should stick with this for now.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
This heads up, I have to leave in a minute. That's the only reason I asked.
Okay,
the sign. Is in the historic district. So it has to be reviewed by the planning board. So I. Didn't deny it. It's just a referral
okay,
to the planning board.
okay, but it came in so late, and like 2 days ago, that we couldn't work on it today. That's the thing, that request, so it'll go for the next meeting.
Is it a permission or is it an apology?
No, it's a referral because it's an application, building permit application. I could deny it, but I presented it as a referral because
Mhm. Because we have to look at it for colors. If it's an HDO, the color scheme matters, and
And what it's
Size.
made of, probably, or is that
Yep.
not a?
yeah, well. I think in their case, they're gonna have it attached to the building. Because they could have one freestanding sign.
Yeah.
And actually, you can have a sign on each frontage. There's one on Park Street and Place and one on Main Street.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know how they want to arrange that, but it's we haven't had enough chance to look into it to see.
this is one that just got squeezed in. This
Just
woman
like
had
day ago,
contacted
too.
me like a week ago and.
Yeah.
First, I told her all the things she couldn't do, but then I said, and I talked to Barry. Barry said, why don't you just give her a referral here and we'll talk it over
we'll go
before you
through.
deny it.
Then if it's denied, it goes to ZBA.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Everybody got that?
Will help for that, but so we'll stick to this one, so. Question is, do we,
Oh, there it is.
you know, what do we do? Do we say we really believe that should go as the code said, and that, and they've said, well, then we'll fight it out in court, okay, and we could,
Someone
So what?
said that?
well, you know how they are, I'll see you in court.
Who's they? I don't know them.
Okay, yeah, that's right, we don't care, yeah, go ahead,
Well, that was never written. That was,
just a threat.
well, let's just leave that,
There you go.
out of the equation right now.
Okay.
I mean, it may come to that, but there's gonna be a lot more steps.
I think it's really easy to give.
Did everybody get the letter from,
Gil,
Lee Gill?
mhm,
Yeah.
Anybody? Well,
yeah, so. And it's what you would expect, that we did and we got approved and we bought the stuff and that's what we're gonna do. They didn't say, we know that we tried to pull a fast one by putting stuff on the plan that isn't in the code and we just don't know how to read code.
right.
They do know how to read code. An engineer should know how to read code. And
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up, that's all.
I
It's
had
not
a-
like this is the first time this person's bought a building. I think this person owns numerous buildings
Mhm.
throughout St. Lawrence County
probably true.
and probably has to meet codes in all of the towns.
Every other place. Yeah.
and villages where he owns buildings.
So, has everybody got a grasp of where it is now?
I believe, if I'm understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, the blue outline is the historic.
HDO, yeah,
So.
and that's the
can kinda
property.
see
You could
the
probably click on it
parcels.
and just show that what it
On
is.
my computer, I can move the mouse, but you can't. I can't move it up there.
Okay.
No, because it's my
pictures.
computer.
Get another picture. Okay, but it is, it's in hash marks and right on the edge of the river, it has the square in the middle, or on the edge, that's the H&R block. And so,
So here's the H&R block. And this is the,
now why does that get why does that get the Diagonal lines.
Waterfront overlay.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's the
It's
thing I
in
was,
two
that's another piece.
districts.
that's the thing I was trying to ask you about that Tim
Yeah.
Danahy was setting up, and you can't have. I thought it was automotive related businesses along the
No.
waterfront. That's what he was trying for
Well,
during the comprehensive planning.
if you look
sessions.
in the waterfront overlay, Barry and I looked it through. Actually, I looked it through with Jason.
Yeah,
Because
Jason can-
actually this, depending on how this goes, it's gonna have to be referred to the county.
Mhm,
Because it's on Route 11.
mhm.
But
And
anyway,
it's on a river.
it's on a river, two things, river and on on a state highway. And we reviewed all the businesses that were prohibited. And it was not one of those. This is retail. It's not like they're building.
Not like
anything.
service, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I agree with you, if that's what it says, I'm fine. All I'm saying is I do remember during the comprehensive plan development sessions, and after the 2 or 3 years that we spent developing it, I didn't go back and actually read what was written in the plan ultimately, and I explained it to Barry over the phone the other week. But I know that I remember Tim having issue with, and many people in the village having issue with the old derelict car dealer on Governor Street. That's a riverfront property, and then other various.
Yeah,
Mm.
all
Yeah.
the automotive businesses going
Yes.
down Riverside.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
trying to, in the future, have that not be on the river, but maybe he never got that. Or maybe the plan
Basically,
never got that.
I believe. If any one of those businesses. Changes hands, then I don't think they can, well, they'd have to wait like 1 calendar year before that. I don't know if that's still a law, but technically it was like if you wait 1 calendar year and if it's unoccupied, then
you lose your
the,
chance.
So they are allowed to stay there, those businesses right now or not?
they're allowed to be there, but say, for instance, they closed for a year
Yeah,
and they were unoccupied.
then they wouldn't be allowed to be there.
Exactly.
So what does that say with regard to this future one going in here?
It's still retail and
Okay,
there was retail there before. So
Okay.
it's retail.
But it's very likely that whichever place, wherever it is from here, right across the way here, the Nice and Easy wouldn't be able to restart gas pumps again. That was a big push. There was no gas pumps, no gas pumps. Oh, well, we better put in gas pumps. And that was before my time on the board. But so the village board took over and they got the gas pumps put in. Otherwise, there's gonna be an empty, an empty lot there. So,
So if I were
yeah, so
In-
let's go.
Lee's position, I might ask about subsection E. Small letter G in 325-21, which is what Charles read to us. And I'm looking at a version and maybe it's not accurate, and it says any new construction or exterior remodel, and you just read this, shall have the building faced with red brick or other non-combustible building material appropriate to the building. And since that building isn't brick, or I would ask about that. I would be like, oh, well, metal's totally appropriate to that building.
It's non-combustible.
And it's
Is
not,
that what you're saying?
yeah, and it's non-combustible. I'm assuming metal's non-combustible.
Yeah.
Okay. It's non-combustible and whatever it might mean to be appropriate to the building. That seems to undercut being appropriate to the district.
yeah, but it says
Ah.
right here, no vinyl, metal or aluminum siding shall be permitted for use on any building.
That is true.
Yeah, last sentence.
Yeah,
Mm,
Of second that.
um, hmm. Sticky wicket. Now, it's block, which is neither brick nor stone.
but it
But there's
predates
brick
the
on the front.
code
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
right. So block could almost be painted. Because brick can't be painted. Metal, it's not successful.
Well, block
painted,
is
so-
currently painted.
Yeah, it is painted white. That's right.
Could be-
We don't
could
like
be
that.
repainted.
Could be repainted to a palette color. Whatever is on we have this palette. Are you in on that yet? Do you know about the color palette? It's the allowed
Yeah,
colors.
say
for this-
no.
It's the
Thanks.
colors that are allowed in the district. And they don't have to be this exact company's colors, but those are the types that are allowed there. This is the historic district. Palette. And so one of those colors painted down the back. Now there's some ugly ones they could do just out of spite, but
Out of spite.
pea green or something. Well, there's some yellow in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's some yellow, but not bright like the Napa sign.
Well, this is a little immediately. But yeah, okay, I got it.
And so that would be acceptable on the side, but the front already has metal and ugly windows and stuff on that, and that's terrible.
Well, that's what they
So we
mentioned in
wanna
the
do-
letter.
Yeah. They're making it better. They said, well, we already have brick. It's this high across the front.
Hang on, I gotta unshare,
Okay,
or I can just bring it up.
Did you say that they
Yeah.
were going to cover the brick or do something else?
so this is what's uncertain about the white stuff above the brick.
This is the current photos
Yes.
that we're bringing up.
Yep.
Where,
Where am I? You let me share, and I will,
oh, okay. I can.
oh, no, here's. Let's see, share. Right, so let's do this picture here. So there is that little bit of brick down along the bottom. Yep, and who knows what they're gonna do around the door? We don't know that yet necessarily, but it'd be, so this, the marquee at the top and the rest of it down below. Could be a different color, maybe, if they're gonna do it, but see, even this isn't the same kind of siding, I don't think. Well, maybe it is.
That's probably metal
It doesn't
siding.
have that in between bump. It just is ridge flat. But anyway, that's older style, I guess. So. Yeah, I mean, the code is clear. I hate to say, but the code is clear. I mean, not that I hate to say, but I hate to keep coming back to that and really, we don't do well at where we aren't supposed to change code. I mean, that we find ways to live within it. And if we can't, we don't just change it to find a way. We got sued one time for that and lost. So we don't want to do it any more often than we have to. But at the same time, we want to stand behind the code and say, this is it. And, these are the breaks. Sorry about that. And if they want to take it beyond us, okay. I don't know. So I would entertain well. What else would you like to say? Let me do this, because you have that other part about the F about the metal and it being non-combustible.
Well, yeah, F
And-
and G seem to sort of be at odds with one
They
another.
do, yeah,
But,
yeah,
yes, I agree that to a large extent, it's very clear.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think the other thing I would say about this is their application, the application and the wording on the permit notification is all about doing whatever you're doing in accordance with the the code.
Mhm.
So, even though the permit is granted, it doesn't say do whatever you want. It says you gotta do what's in the code.
Mhm.
So that they pick that metal siding on their own was not, I don't think that's particularly a strong argument for why they
Isn't.
should also could get to use it too.
Because it's entirely possible it's not a legit color for the from the palette.
Right.
too. So there's another, yeah, they jumped the gun.
So it says something here like, the undersigned hereby makes application for a building and zoning permit for the purposes described herein and agrees to that such purposes shall be undertaken in accordance with all the applicable laws, ordinances, and requirements. Circle 1 for the town or village.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's not. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but I don't know that it's incumbent upon Tim to be like, and here's what you need to know.
Mhm. 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 And to frame it a different
Just a
way,
little bit of-
they're a lot better off now that we found out before they installed it.
Yeah,
So there's a little bit of satisfaction.
I mean, I guess I could start throwing out ideas for a motion.
Mhm.
I would move to have the main street facing side bricked. No metal siding on the river side and maintain the cinder block with a paint color that's within the historic district palette. Then I guess, I wouldn't care one way or the other what they do with stuff that faces
Out back.
out back.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
the
know.
overhead door, it's on the side, actually, on the dumpster side.
I gotcha.
Over here, but that, we have to fix that.
Not that I don't care, I don't find metal siding to be that particularly problematic on that aspect of the building.
Mhm.
On those aspects of the building. Except for the code.
Yeah,
Mhm.
um. All right, that sounds, so even without offering the metal on the other two sides, there's the chance they could paint the other two sides that look the same.
Sure.
And so maybe would we frame it to say there's an option of paint? On the block only, if that suits. But the front really needs to meet code. And really the front and the side, the riverside ought to meet code as best they can, but that's an awful lot of brick to put them up against, but that's how it is.
My motion, if I could, I don't know if people are ready for it. Is that they follow this section of the code 325-21 E. To the letter of the code.
And there are options. They don't have to do metal. They can, and they can leave it as it is. You know, that was another, well, we'll just leave it as it is. Go ahead. You know, it's,
Would that then preclude them painting the existing metal on the front?
They
Or
could,
do that?
but it's risky business because this kind of paint, metal doesn't paint well. It flakes off quickly.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a baked enamel thing.
Mhm.
But they have they have the right, I would say, to do that. You can paint exterior paint. Charles,
Now I have to go.
So,
It was really nice to
so,
see everybody.
but do we want to take your motion? Would that be that they adhere to?
So you already got my motion,
325?
so I don't need to vote on it.
I wrote it down.
Well, aside
Okay.
from clarifying, like when we say the facade of the building or front of the building, are we also talking about the marquee?
My motion was that they follow the code to the letter of the code for the entire building.
Uh-huh,
Thanks.
okay,
Good night.
so, yep. You know, that's a straightforward sort of statement and it's really what we should say. I can't say, but it certainly is within our responsibility to defend isn't the right word, that's the best one I can come up with, defend the code and say that, yes, this is how it should be, and this is how it would have been if there wasn't this one little glitch. And so, yeah, that's good. And if this comes to an appeal, then that's when we can volunteer that, well, you could paint the block and let them do it, but not suggest it ahead of time. I don't know. I don't want to change your motion.
No,
But
that's
we have-
fine. I withdraw my original motion and second
I'm not a-
Charles's motion.
I'm not a slave to Robert's rules, as you've noticed, and just whatever works. I can, but I don't like to. Well, okay, then, that's everybody who could vote. Motion, second, passed. Pressure's on you. So, and I do think they'll say, well, then we're gonna have to appeal, and it goes to ZBA, and ZBA has more rights than we do to change it if they want to. And then I won't feel that we as planners have already backed down. This is really the first contest since the comprehensive plan came out, and the code was rewritten to meet the comprehensive plan. And so to all of a sudden, from our position, say, well, you know, like that isn't so good. So we better do what's right. Did you get that all?
Yep.
Wow. I thought I could talk fast
She's
enough. You
good.
wouldn't. Yes, she is.
And anything I didn't get is recorded, so we're good.
Uh,
I can always double check if I'm concerned.
Okay, so then that's all passed. This is one other item. This is a document that we would use.
You
to-
would fill it out and give it to Tim, yeah, and you can do that after the meeting if
We
you
have,
want.
do we have to
can look at
approve it? Have we approved
Nope,
this form?
You've already
Oh,
approved
okay,
your
so we
decision,
have
so
some-
that's just basically summarizing the decision.
Yep, so after this, then they should be referred to county planning because they're on the river and the highway. So that should be put in there and then. suspect
That'll
about it,
actually be Tim's process.
okay?
For you guys, you're not referring it to county planning. You are basically denying based on the discussion and the motion that the code should be followed to the letter of the law. I can get better verbiage, but you know
That's
what I
pretty
mean.
good. It's good verbiage, yeah. Okay, so Tim, we don't have to fill it out because there's no, oh,
You'll just
I
fill
am- I
out,
gotta-
you'll
I
fill,
gotta
you'll
park it,
check
yep.
denied,
Yep.
you'll put your reason and you'll sign it.
all right, that sounds good.
Yep.
Um,
And you have, I think, a certain number of days to provide that to
yes.
Tim once the decision has been made.
Actually 31 days. but
It's
it'll
something
be
like
in
that, but you
31
can
days.
do it right away.
Right.
It'll probably make more sense. And then he can provide everything back to the applicant.
Sorry to leave you in the position where they're gonna yell at you.
Part of my,
Yeah, I know. You need one of those, like the court, how they have the glass under the thing so they can yell at you only from a distance. They can't get in the back in your alcove there, and give you a hard time.
well, the engineer is my go-between person.
Yes, okay,
I don't communicate directly with the property owners.
okay, yeah, because apparently they're hard to deal with. So this engineer, yeah, and so, and sharing a little blame with the engineer doesn't hurt. So he can be a little sheepish too. All right, so that's those are our agenda items, I think, because the sign issue, we'll get more time and we'll look at that one for the,
If you want to look over this stuff real quick. Do
okay, yeah, we have, yep, we got,
you want to do the whole time?
sure, well, I'll go to 10 of or something.
What time?
Oh, it's 20 of now or something like that.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Do you want to review it first?
So this is. Well, everybody here see it, so that what they want to do is they want to put a this person bought, Pat Collins Real Estate, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and but they changed the name to,
Grass
Something.
River Realty.
okay.
This is on Main
Real
Street.
Estate, yep, and it's in that big building on the corner of
Mhm.
Park Place, and so.
Apparently she rents space in there for real estate.
And so what they want to do is to put up a sign for her. Like this, so this isn't their sign, but this is the code for it, so. The issue is Niles Asset Management has one now, and it's on the side, isn't it? It's on the Main Street side.
It's a
and under the-
freestanding sign.
Oh,
It's
there's
on
one out
Main
there
Street.
too?
There's no sign,
Nothing on Park.
there's no signs. There's no wall signs in this building at all.
Oh. So that's different, they used to be. Okay,
Is there?
yeah, in that, there's kind of a porch that comes out on
Oh,
the side
you
and
know
up
what?
in there. Yeah.
Maybe there still is one in there.
Okay, but and so that's part of their signage, but it's nowhere near their max. They can have 15 square feet.
Yeah.
Total.
So
And
this
Go
turned
ahead.
out to be like 11 point something square feet, really small sign.
mhm. And the thing is that if you have two businesses in the same property, you have to advertise both of them on the same side. Yes, just like that you have up for the signs. On that, and so they're allowed a 25% increase for the second property. So the first one has whatever it is, and this is in general provisions here. Yep, 100 page 109 or so. And
Oh, I missed that too.
where was it here? One or two more signs. And
So they could add the 25% to the existing sign.
they could. See, and it's hidden. You would think that unsafe signs and signs not in use would be the end of the chapter, but it continue, oh, it is in it. Non-conforming, okay, here it is.
What's the
Um,
code reference? Just we
So
can
I'm
write it
getting
down?
there.
No
I
worries.
think- I think, let's see, it is. No, it's called owners of two or more contiguous lots. Here it is. So it's 325-69,
Thank you.
A3. Capital A.
Oh, I know. Is this a common signage?
Owner of a single lot with one building and multiple storefronts, which is what this sort of is,
Oh, yeah.
including but not limited to shopping centers. And so now you have the asset management and the real estate agent. And then a common signage plan conforming to the provisions of this section, meaning color, et cetera, shall be allowed a 25% increase in the maximum total sign area for each included lot. No. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, 25% increase in maximum total sign area. I see for that, based on the planning board's review. And it has to do with the stuff that Tim would look at. Plot plan, location of buildings, computation of the maximum total sign area for one, and the height. Number of freestanding, you can only have one freestanding sign no matter what. However, you're allowed to have a sign on each street. Wherever it says a corner lot.
And this is not an historic overlay district.
This
That
is,
stops, it
It
is,
is.
okay.
So
if you look at
that
the,
requires us to have the right colors.
see that dark line?
Yep.
That's a historic district.
Okay.
Is that the last one in the
Yeah,
district?
right.
Yeah, it's the last one in the district, right? The next one isn't.
And here's the sign. Table too. There's-
So I think that they're allowed, if it's one freestanding sign, it can be bigger but not higher, just larger size. And give them that second person on that sign. They have to work out among themselves their proportions, you know, the owner and the tenant have to do that. And this is NMU, yes, 15 square feet. Wall sign, 6 square feet maximum sign. Yeah, and I don't know if you can have yeah, you can have freestanding in that. So,
Actually, the existing sign is freestanding.
yeah, so that would be, yep. So I think you're in your right. You have the right to give them permission to increase that size. So 15 square feet, another quarter to that is another roughly 4 square feet.
So she could add
Add 4 to 50,
25% to the existing sign.
right? Yeah, which would be another 4 square feet, and then they can divide it up so it's fair. Asset management doesn't need much of a sign to find them. It's not like people walk by, hey, let's go in and asset our management a little bit.
But they also could put, 4 square feet of a horizontal sign within the existing sign, because I don't think Niles Asset Management wants to redo their sign just to encourage for the realtor. And that's what I got from the applicant, because they were originally supposed to incorporate her in the signage, but
I see.
they either forgot or overlooked it, or just somebody goofed and.
You're greedy. So yes, she could add it anyway. It doesn't have to be smooth. It can be set to the side. Well, I don't know. See what they propose.
Well, if you
It
look at
still,
the- if you
it still
look
has
at
to
the-
come back to us.
If
Yes.
you look at the existing sign, it's like one sign on top of the other.
Mhm.
But if you look at non-conforming signs, that's a tricky part.
Mm,
You can't increase the size of the sign.
because it's non-conforming now.
I don't know. I have to.
I bet it's not. I bet it's conforming now.
I don't know how old that sign is.
So they actually have to bring us a plan because it's in the HDO. It still has to come to planning board for color, et cetera, that
Yeah.
we saw further.
So we
back
have to
there.
get,
A real mock-up.
Northeastern Sign uses pretty good about sending renderings.
Mhm.
They take a photo and then they'll put the sign within the photo.
Yep.
They're pretty good
They're
about
pretty
it.
good at that. And we learned that they have trouble making all the right colors in their, when they do it on the computer, the color isn't exactly how it's gonna be when we see it in real life, but that we can
I would agree.
get by. Yes, because the Canton Tobacco Shop over here. We even have one. Anyway, the colors came up, it was the Golden Bear colors, like Canton Central Schools colors were the
No,
colors
that-
on.
That
That's what
wasn't
it
a
looked.
mistake.
Yeah.
It was a mistake, but it was unintentional.
Yeah, but it's because the colors didn't render correctly. When you saw what they wanted, it was okay, but otherwise, like the kids were gonna go right from soccer practice to the tobacco shop.
They selected from the
Palette.
color palette. It was just, that was not illegal. It was just, I just caught it and said, Northeastern Sign at this point had it with me, and they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
but I went right to the owner and I said, you're within your rights to use these colors. They're allowed, you've got them from a color palette. I said, however, those are our school colors. And your opening day of business, is not gonna go well.
There's gonna be mothers down there saying, no, Golden Bear, smoke
So-
shop, yeah.
I said, try to incorporate with like the color scheme you already have,
Mhm.
you know, and the,
It's much better, but
yeah.
at one point we were arguing with him over the phone. Well, it's not really that color. I had to talk to him.
That's right.
Yeah, oh yeah, because Tim had enough of it. All right, so, yes, and when they bring back a mock-up of that, then we can, we'll meet on that somehow. Okay,
Mhm.
very good.
Works for me.
I take a motion to adjourn so that poor Jenny can go to her next meeting.
No
Yes.
more tonight.
No, me.
Oh, we will-
This Jenny, yeah, oh, we have to make,
Yeah, Jenny.
yeah, the I Jenny. There's
The
a,
I, Jenny.
you're a
Yep.
I.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good, because that's how it's been keeping you separate. If this Jenny would write in hand, you would always know it's her. She always has, she has the most incredible font that she writes in.
Jennifer.
Jennifer, yeah.
That is actually a font that looks nothing like my handwriting, but just
Well, Jen-
just so you're aware.
I think she
So-
should write field signs. like
Motion.
that. Yes, motion, yeah, and it's.
Second.
I'll signify by saying aye.
5:48.
So I guess I'm gonna leave this
Go ahead.
meeting now. Thank you for doing all the work that you did.
No problem. And I
I
will.
just don't know how
turn
come I
off-
keep losing everything in here. So the other Jenny, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you with my emails.